And we want to express our gratitude to the leadership that China has shown in this regard. And this makes us proud that a fellow BRICS country is manifesting what BRICS stands for. BRICS stands for an inclusive world. BRICS stands for addressing peace and security through dialogue and in engaging with all of our global partners, both in the global north and the global south. Now, of course, what we have seen is the ripple effect of this positive development between Iran and Saudi Arabia, in that you are seeing that there's normalization of relationship with other Gulf and Arab countries of the region. There has been shuttle diplomacy of ministers and leaders visiting each other's capital and re-establishing relationships between themselves that have been frozen for a very long time. Now, as South Africa, we have always maintained that the countries of the region must be left to themselves in the first instance to resolve their differences. We've always spoken out against outside interference because we have seen that outside interference has been the precursor to fractious relationship in that region. And we have seen the appetite amongst countries of the region to take their destiny into their own hands and to chart a part of peace, a part of cooperation, and a part of development. Because the Middle East, North Africa region is pregnant with tremendous opportunities, and we are all highly dependent on that region still for our energy needs, being the largest reservoir of oil and gas in the world. So we are welcoming this positive development as the BRICS community, and we hope we can continue to build on this in bringing about peace in other regions of the world. But as we meet also, we are extremely concerned around the developments in Sudan. And that will be part of our deliberations today. And as BRICS countries, I think also we need to see what is it that we can do to bring about the cessation of hostilities between the warring parties at the moment. As a result, we are seeing a humanitarian crisis in Sudan, and we would like to see hostilities ceasing as soon as possible and a return to peace and a return to negotiations between the parties to bring about some sustainable peace within Sudan, which has an impact on the larger region. So we will deliberate on all of these areas today, looking at some of the positive developments, some of the ongoing challenges, and what is it that BRICS as a collective can do to try and also assist, working with the regional bodies, working with the United Nations. And I think it's very important that for BRICS, ensuring that the United Nations is always at the center of resolving conflicts and that the regional bodies are an integral part of resolving those differences. So for South Africa, and I believe for all BRICS countries, what we would like to see is that we address differences, conflict, wherever they may prevail, not only in the MENA region, through diplomatic dialogue, through engagement, based on our own experience and our own past history. That is the only part. There is no war that has been won on the battlefield. Wars can only be won through negotiation, sitting around the table and finding an amicable solution, taking into account the interest of all parties. And we are seeing the positive effect of that in the MENA region. So it gives me great pleasure to formally open this meeting and now call upon my Russian colleague to make opening remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anil. First of all, I would like to thank our South African colleagues for the hospitality and excellent organization of this event. Taking this opportunity, I would like to congratulate our friends from South Africa on the occasion of the upcoming national holiday, Freedom Day, which is celebrated on April 27, and wish you, friendly country, further success and well-being. First of all, I would like to emphasize that we highly value the coordination within our association. The 5 BRICS countries have deserved to become an influential factor in international relations. Strengthening the capacity and enhancing the role of BRICS is listed as a priority area in the new foreign policy concept approved by the President of the Russian Federation on March 31st this year. With great satisfaction, we note that our positions on the most urgent issues of the Middle East agenda are really close. The region remains in a deep systematic crisis. Long-lasting security and economy crisis provoke immigration and create basis for the rise of social tensions and conflict risks. Only in April we witnessed another escalation in the area of Palestinian-Israeli conflict and as well as dramatic events in Sudan. And we must send a strong signal to the parties in Sudan involved in the conflict to stop hostilities and restore peace. Current situation poses threats to regional and international peace. The so-called gray zones that are under law or no control of the authorities in such countries as Libya, Yemen, Syria and Iraq lead to emergence of hotbeds of terrorism, drugs and weapons trafficking. There are risks of spread of armed extremists beyond the region. Against this backdrop, we welcome agreements from March 10 between Saudi Arabia and Iran, reached with the help of the Chinese mediation on the normalization of relations between the two countries and the meeting between their foreign ministers that followed on April 6 in Beijing. We hope that the rapprochement Riyadh and Tehran will contribute to reduction in tensions around a number of regional hotspots and strengthening of security and stability in the Middle East. There are positive developments in restoration of ties between Saudi Arabia and Syria. For the first time since the outbreak of the Syrian conflict, the two ministers of foreign affairs exchanged official visits. We strongly oppose the course of the USA to create new dividing lines in the region and fuel conflicts. First of all, we are talking about confrontational initiatives in the area of so-called collective security that are aimed at creation of the US-led anti-Iranian coalition of Middle East countries. We believe that such artificial military alliances only further escalate tensions in the region. On our part, we are convinced that regional disputes and problems should be resolved exclusively through political dialogue, based on equality and respect for interests and opinions of all sides. It's important to analyze recent positive developments in the Gulf region and possible ways to combine our efforts on the basis of our national initiatives, including the Russian concept of collective security, in order to support our partners in the region in their desire to move forward towards normalization of the situation in the Middle East. Thank you very much, and I wish all of us every success in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Russia, for your statement. We can now have our Brazilian colleague online to deliver the opening remarks.
Okay. Dear colleagues, Professor Anil Suklo, can you hear me? Yes?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. On behalf of the Brazilian government, I'm honored to join the meeting of the senior officers of the BRICS on the Middle East and North Africa today. I apologize for not being able to be physically in Cape Town, but I did my job and wake up like 4 o'clock here, so I apologize for that. I wish to greet our colleagues from fellow BRICS states with whom I look forward to have a highly productive session today. I would like to thank especially the colleagues from South Africa for the organization of this meeting and the preparations for the special envoys on next Wednesday. And I also would like to have a special thanks to Ben Jobert that has been very helpful to us working virtually here. Dear colleagues, as I have said, this exercise offers us an invaluable opportunity to share our views on important topics concerning international politics, peace and security. In the MENA region, we have no doubt that the BRICS countries can make an important contribution to foster a regional environment conducive to stability, creating favorable conditions for the region. Currently, on one hand, the situation in the Middle East and North Africa continues to pose serious political and social challenges, with significant instability for the region, which in some occasions threaten international peace and security. On the other hand, recently, the region has seen positive developments that point to a brighter and more prosperous future for the populations in the Middle East. When I say that, I have in mind the normalization agreement between Saudi Arabia and the Republic of Iran. Also, I'd like to thank Iraq and Oman and China for the efforts to reach this agreement. On the other side, we have a challenge that continues to demand our attention. In Yemen, there is an enduring humanitarian situation with more than 11 million children in need of humanitarian assistance, such as access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene services. The socio-economic fabric of the country remains on the edge of collapse, with large-scale displacement and recurring climate shocks. In this context, the Brazilian government also believes that the BRICS can be a source of economic development through trade, technical cooperation, and investments, and a partner of many countries on building stronger institutions. At this juncture, the escalation of violence in Sudan is a reason of great concern for us, with clashes between forces and a growing number of deaths. We understand BRICS should work on a language that reflects our deep preoccupation with the situation and a strong appeal to put an end to violence and to restore order and stability. And I thank you, the Republic of South Africa, for incorporating our suggestions, and also thanks to the colleagues for their understanding in our request for reopen a text that was already negotiated. Also, the current deadlock in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, without any prospect, is a reason of special concern for us. We have seen with frustration the recurring conflicts in East Jerusalem and the spread of settlements in the West Bank, which contributes to further disappointment and anguish in relation to a solution for the conflict. Dear colleagues, at this introductory stage, I'd like to stress that today it's even more imperative to reaffirm our commitment to core principles such as the respect for international law, to the central role of the United Nations in matters of international peace and security, and to political and diplomatic efforts for the Pacific settlements of disputes. Likewise, it's also the time for the BRICS countries to reaffirm its weight as an actor that can join the great debates of our time while providing alternative perspectives and answers for our common challenge. We hope that the reassurance of core principles of peaceful coexistence should create favorable conditions for the region to translate its resources and young demographics into dynamic, prosperous societies, fully integrated in positive economic trends and in a cooperative international environment. Finally, I'd like to thank the colleagues for the spirit of partnership shown here in the negotiations of the joint statement. The commitment to find a common language and a shared vision about the problems of the MENA region is the greatest evidence of the strength and vitality of our group. Thank you very much.
Long time due to its manifestations, interrelations with the political and security upheavals witnessed there. The countries in the region encompass vast diversity and are in different stages of economic development. The conflicts in the region continue to extend due to its complex nature, competitive geopolitics, and the failure of the international community, including the multilateral system, to adequately support the leadership and people in building mutual trust. The security landscape also continues to grow more complicated and fragmented, with rising number of state and non-state actors deploying modern weaponry. Politically speaking, there are a multitude of voices, each of which requires attention of the international community, particularly of groupings like BRICS. The synchronization of BRICS countries on regional issues will showcase to countries in this region that we stand with them while pursuing the ideals of effective global peace and security, zero tolerance to terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. India has a huge interest in the MENA region, owing to our dependence on energy resources, large diaspora, substantial remittances and trade. I'm hopeful that we would be concluding the negotiations in the joint statement, of which most of the paras have already been agreed to. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Excellency, for your statement. We now move to China.
Your Excellency, Professor Anil Kular, my colleagues from Brazil, Russia, and India, good morning. I thank my dear colleagues for your great arrangement for the event today. Before our consultation starts, I met many old faces and many new friends here. I fully agree with Your Excellency's elaboration on the bilateral, on the international situation and the Middle East region. The Middle East region is now undergoing profound changes, where regional countries are showing stronger interdependence, solidarity, and reconciliation among themselves. At the same time, there is also an aspiration on the part of Middle East countries that BRICS will continue to play a constructive role in promoting peace, stability, and reconciliation in the region. Excellency, thank you for your appreciation for China's contribution to the security and stability in the region. The Chinese side hopes that during our consultation, the new changes in the Middle East and the new role played and the contribution made by BRICS countries can be reflected in the outcome document of the event. That is important for demonstrating a BRICS voice in solidarity and injecting positive energy into stronger development, peace, and stability in the Middle East. We look forward to fruitful results coming out of our consultation today, so as to better contribute to the success of the upcoming BRICS Foreign Minister meeting. I thank you all.
Thank you, China, for your statement. Let me thank all of the delegations for the opening remarks. I think we'll adjourn for 2 minutes to allow our colleagues from the media to take leave of us, and we want to thank them for their presence with us this morning. And we look forward to your presence when we inaugurate the meeting of Deputy Ministers and Special Envoys on Wednesday morning. Thank you very much, colleagues.